Hello friends. 1 month before CA examination is a very intense and a critical time span. By this time, you will be in the position to evaluate whatever bit of preparations you have done. And for this evaluation, what might be the better approach than attempting past year question papers? I call this as a reverse strategy. Obviously, because this way you can figure out whether your preparations are as per institute expectation. In case you identify any weakness, it can still be taken care in the remaining days. Our institute has never notified any paper pattern. Yet, a careful observation will show you that questions do follow certain pattern. There is no guarantee that whether this pattern will be kept in the next attempt as well. But believe me, even if you are able to predict a small portion, it can be of incredible help. Now come on, let's just quickly take 5 points which if you keep in your mind before attempting the papers, it can largely improve your performance. Point number 1, acquaintance to examination aura. It happens with most of us that we prepare for our exams day and night, and even we are able to get a level of confidence that so and so topic is covered. But suddenly when we enter an exam hall, we tend to forget everything. Our mind is blank. And the more and more we try to recall the information, the farther more away it feels. Well, this is what is called exam stress. It happens when we suddenly enter into an unpredictable or a clueless environment. It can be reduced by making our mind more and more comfortable with the environment. And for this, I say, practice more and more question papers. Also, it is important to maintain that exam environment. Do take the question papers in the hard copy form and maintain that 15 minutes plus 3 hours time limit. Point number 2, plan your actions according to the weightage you have noticed in the question papers. Now the best way to explain this point to you will be to narrate my own story. I cleared my CA finals in the year 2019. I was from the old scheme. So there was CPT, the MCQ type paper, instead of the CA foundations as we have now. Accordingly, the first subjective paper that I attempted was at intermediate level, the accounts paper. I remember exactly, I could not attempt 13 marks paper because I was running short of time. I cried like anything. Also, I spoiled my next paper after it. Soon I was setting new trends for myself by leaving 15, 20, 17, 25 marks paper. By the time I reached my finals, last paper, I knew 75% is my maximum ability. Not that I was leaving the papers purposely or if I don't knew the answers. I was already putting my maximum ability, my maximum speed during those 3 hours. I asked myself one question. Is it just those 3 hours which were very less for me? Or isn't it that 1.5 days before the examination which are very less? Because I was hardly able to complete my entire syllabus or revise that entire syllabus in 1.5 days. I took a smart move. It was the same time, 1 month before CA examination. I knew indirect tax paper, GST portion comes of around 75 marks and customs for 25. Yes, you guessed it right. I hadn't touched customs for even a single time and decided to leave it anyway. Instead to revise GST once again and be thorough with its concept. Everything went as per the predictions. But this time for me the regret was less because I could not attempt 25 marks paper for which also I knew no answers. But instead whatever paper was attempted, I was very much confident about it. You won't believe I got 58 marks out of 100 or say out of 75. But at least this way I was able to clear up all the papers in one go. Friends, I am not at all encouraging you to leave any portion of your syllabus. But rather than focusing on your weaknesses at such a critical point, why not work more on your strength and make them more scoring? The choice is all yours. But for that, you must know how much marks can come up from which portion. Point number 3, effective utilization of 15 minutes reading time. All subjects other than the core theory ones being law and audit, the number of pages range from about 15 to 20. Now let me tell you what happened with me as a slow attempter. Forget about being able to read the complete question paper, because that would have taken me around 45 minutes, around half an hour extra. The reading times begins at 1:45 p.m. I would read it for 20 to 25 minutes, and by 2:10 I would start attempting the answers out of the portions already read. Then the time would pass by, say till 4 p.m. when I could have attempted 50 marks papers. Then I would take up a next question, read it around for 5 to 7 minutes. Then I could dare leave that question in the choice, given I have already invested 5 to 7 minutes out of 1 hour left. And this way, the question which was by chance left unread was left in choice. Now I feel that that was not at all a wise choice. In fact, the better approach could have been just having a glance at the questions. By just reading the first line, you can figure out whether it is from consolidation, Ind AS, then which Ind AS, or from the last lines, you can figure out whether complete balance sheet is asked, or you're just required to arrive at the profit figures. And this way you can get a complete idea of the questions, and you may be able to arrive at your choices. Well, this is just an idea which I thought I should share with you. You all are the real decision makers. But by now, you should have some strategy. And for this, what is required is practicing 3-4 question papers, preferably from different subjects, because this way you will be able to figure out what will work for you. Again telling you, don't just cluelessly enter the exam hall. Have some strategy. Point number 4, calculating idle time for each question. One more important decision that you all must take by now is how much time you can afford to spend on each question, considering the marks that it carries. It happens with most of us that when we are confident about some question, we end up writing too much, or we frame the answers in such a way that it get elongated too much. Well, in all such cases, the excess time spent cannot bring us any excess marks. It is not only crucial for you to determine what will be the idle time for each question. It is also important that you should be able to attend in the time decided by you. And for this, practicing attempt question papers of 100 marks in 3 hours becomes a prerequisite. For my 5th point, I would say past year papers can help prepare your theory portions. In subjects particular being accounts, finance and cost, straight away theory portions come up for around 10 to 15 marks. And for this, it's a universal truth that we keep on postponing it till the last date. Friends, I can tell you with my experience, theory questions in practical paper and practical questions in theory paper, if at all they can come up, can be very scoring. And for this, directly hitting institute's material or whatever notes you are referring to can be a bulky stuff to handle. An advice from my side would be to consider such questions that came up in the last attempt on sample basis, and then deviating to other range of similar questions will work. It worked for me very well.